Hello, we're back with a Yin sampler. And this is Alex leading Tracy Murdoch in just a sample, maybe 5-10 minutes of the Yin class that she teaches on Sundays at 11 a.m. So we'll begin as Tracy's seated on a block. You can also be seated completely on the floor, whatever is best for your low back. And we're going to start this practice with the first of the Yin series. It generally always starts in a square pose. So let's begin with our right leg at the bottom. So we're going to line up the very front of our shin so that it is parallel, running parallel either along the side or top of your mat, just to keep it in one straight line. And then we're going to lift our left foot and knee and hold them in opposite hands. And let's just softly give a slow, easy rock side to side. This is just part of the warming up as we get into this pose. And then when you feel your hip is nicely lubricated with that movement, let's just lay it gently over the right leg. Now, modification for this, Tracy's showing a modification already. So another modification could be that you would lay that left leg in front of the right leg. And you could also just simply cross the left leg over the right. As long as the knees are squared forward, lining up with our hips, and the toes are also squared forward. And let's just begin with our hands resting gently on our knees and a pulling up through the front of your spine, nice and long. And then an exhalation, we will fold forward from the crease of the hips and bring those hands in front to gently walk out in front. Support it. Listen and pay attention for when that sensation arises. And then when you hit that beautiful sweet spot, get comfortable with the pose. You can lower your elbows and forearms to the floor. Let's roll in with the shoulders. Let your head gently lower. Curve your back. And you're welcome to also lean into a bolster, block, whatever feels right for you. So Tracy will just grab her bolster. It might just give you a little extra support, a little raisedness. And in all the Yin poses, we generally hold them anywhere from 1.5 to 3 minutes. So for the purpose of this sampler, we're not going to hold this pose as long. So I'm going to ask that Tracy slowly eases up. Now we're coming out of this pose the way we came down mindfully, and we can curl it up with the back curving gently and lifting up through the heart. And then we'll just alternate legs. So if the right leg was at the bottom, then we will bring that left leg down and the shin lines up. And let's bring that right foot and knee into our hand with a nice slow rock, lubricating the hip joint. Very good. Bring it back to the middle and just lay that right leg either on top of the left, in front of, or across. You may notice that one side might be a little tighter than the other, so modify accordingly. Just listen to your body. And then again, similarly to the opposite side, we're just going to walk it out with those hands, finding the sensation, rolling in with the shoulders. Let the head softly lower. If it feels right to sink the elbows and forearms down, and you've got some space to do so, then ease into it. Beautiful. Good, and then we'll just ease back up, slow, gentle rise. And between each of our Yin poses, we always work in a nice little resting pose. So Tracy's now going to slip off of her block and just come down to seated. And we'll press the feet to the very edges of your mat, just grounding them. And lowering your spine down, use your arms for support if you need to. And sink that spine. I'm going to connect the knees and just press those feet along the edges of your mat, giving it a nice, beautiful opening in those hips. Nice external rotation. And we generally hold the resting pose for about a minute. So it allows you to sort of settle into the pose you've just completed and let it wash over you in a nice relaxation, but not a full relaxation, just a little rest. Good. And then for the purpose of this sampler, we're not holding quite as long, but we're going to wiggle those feet together and just bring your knees up towards your body. Wrap your arms around your legs. Give your spine a little rock side to side. Good. And then from that rocking, just a rolling to one side and ease up very mindfully, gently, and come up to a nice seated pose. Perfect. And we're going to keep our legs straight, and we'll do a caterpillar pose, which is similar to a forward bend, except we're really rolling in with the shoulders. So once again, Tracy's going to show some modifications using bolsters. So let's start first with a straight spine. So we're going to lean it back for a moment, and hands can just rest on the tops of our thighs or on the tops of the bolster, wherever you are. And let's softly hinge it forward from the crease of the hips. Find where the sensation is. Then get comfortable. We're going to lower that head forward. Good. Let the shoulders roll in. Curve your back. Feel the backs of those knees dropping down into the floor, backs of the legs opening. Feeling a beautiful expansion in your low back. Opening up to the shoulder blades. You can rest that head into your hands. You can just ease in with those elbows being supported by the bolster. Beautiful. Good. And then this pose we'd probably hold from about 2 to 3 minutes if we were doing it in a regular class. So I'm just going to have Tracy slowly ease out of it now, just lifting, and we can curl it back up, nice and safe and gentle. Perfect. And then she'll just move that bolster to the side, and we'll bend the knees again, press those feet into the floor and ground. Sink your spine down. Ease it down into resting once again. Just let those feet widen out to the edges of the mat so that you get a nice gentle opening through your low back. A lifting of your knees back up again towards your body, because we're not holding this resting pose quite as long, but that's the rest. Rocking of the spine. Circling of the knees, what feels right for you, and a rolling to one side. Come up to seated. Let's plant those feet turning forward towards, facing forward with those feet grounded and those knees bent. We're just going to exhale and let our knees open wide and lower down with the feet connecting. Coming into butterfly, full butterfly. And in the yin practice, I always like working in some self-care with maybe just some massaging of the arches of your feet with your thumbs. And you'll probably notice that the knees will start to soften and relax even more when you do this, which feels great. Good. And then we'll lift that heart up with a nice big breath. And from this beautiful full butterfly, we'll exhale forward. Straight spine to begin from the crease of the hips. When the sensation arises, that's when we gently give into that with a nice rolling with the spine, a curving of the spine, shoulders rolling in, your head lowering down, and settling into sleeping butterfly. This pose we probably hold for about 2 to 3 minutes as well. Good. And then we'll just ease our way back up, slow and gentle, and a very nice soft lift of the knees, bring them back up. And you guessed it, another resting pose. We do lots of resting poses in yin, which is lovely. It's a way to really assimilate what's going on in your body and observe the shift of each pose as you can rest into it. And from that beautiful internal rotation with the knees out to the side, the hips now receive an external rotation. So it's almost a counter pose as well, this resting pose. So that's just a little sample, about 3 poses that we would do in a 1-hour yin class. And I do hope to see you at 11 a.m. on Sundays. Thanks so much for watching the video, and thank you, Tracy, for doing the demo.